you are in for a treat if you can handle it. This is intense, chilling, but it is also astounding. Let's talk about Netflix's Adolescence. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the new Netflix miniseries Adolescence. This is a 4-part miniseries, each one just an hour. And I talk about the length of these miniseries all the time, these limited series on streamers. They're 8 hours, 10 hours. It's too much. This, does exactly what it needs to do in these 4 hours. And that's how miniseries used to be back in the day, in the 80s and 90s. It was, 2 nights on television. It was 2 hours a night. And there you go. And this is exactly the length of time it needs to be to get its point across. And we're going to talk about all of this here in just a second. First, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are one of my Dan Reviews subscribers already, thank you so much for that. Love when you return to check out my stuff. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell too so you get the alerts for all my video drops. I do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and always something going on. I put, I try to put something up every day, sometimes 2 in a day, if I get a little behind. But all right, so let's talk about Adolescence. So this centers around a 13-year-old schoolboy, Jamie, who is arrested in the very first scene of the first episode, the first few minutes, for the murder of a female classmate. And we don't find out exactly who has been murdered that he's been accused of until later in that episode. First they just take him in. But that's the basic premise. That's Episode 1 is all about, the arrest and his intake process and all of that and some questioning. Episode 2, the detectives go to his school and try and talk to some of the kids, and some things break out there. Episode 3 is all about the psychiatrist coming to talk to Jamie. She's had a couple of sessions with him, but we're privy to the final session between the two of them, and that is absolutely a chiller of an episode. I just watched it all yesterday. It's still a top of my mind. And then episode 4 is more about the aftermath with what the family is going through a few months after the fact. And this is important to delineate. This episode is about this episode is about this, and this, because this was all shot, each hour-long episode, or almost, I think one is like 51 minutes, but they're all about an hour, was shot in not just one take, not just, hey, they did one take and it was a hit, so they cut and print. No, not only was it one take, one shot, one continuous 51-minute shot or hour-long shot. It is what we see as the viewer. So we are doing a lot of walk and talks with the people. The episode, where we're in the session with Jamie and the psychiatrist, that's just all in one room, and the camera changes angles and everything, and sort of slides around the table and whatever. But it's all in one shot. And there's some drone usage here. I would love to see, I'm sure there is, one, if it's not out already, coming out of like the making of, because I am fascinated with how they even did some of these shots. And here's the thing. Episode 1 was so intense, I didn't even realize it. I knew it was in real time because someone noted the time when they break into the house in the first episode. I don't know if it was one of the cops or Jamie's dad or something. And then at some point later, they mention the time again at the police station while they're doing the interview. Oh, I think it's when the detective actually says into the tape recorder, like, okay, we're interviewing Jamie at such and such a time, whatever. And I thought, oh, wow, well, so then this is in real time. But it still didn't click that it was all a one shot until I read up a little bit. In fact, I was halfway through the second episode. I paused to get something to eat and started just kind of looking up a little bit about the show because I was fascinated that the kid who plays Jamie, it's his first acting job. We'll get into that too. But he was doing such a good job. I'm like, who is this kid? And Turns out, this is the first official, acting role he's ever done. And so I thought, man, that's crazy. And then it sort of got me down this rabbit hole, and they were all one shots. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense, because the first episode was certainly in real time, and they broke into the house, and it was all, the police station happened to be, down the street. They constructed that certainly for, the ability for the one shot. But we actually did get in the car, and sort of go in the car with Jamie, the police car. So I have to see a making of how they did this, because it's insane. But okay, let's go back to Jamie for a second. So we've talked about the one shot and how crazy that is, and how they pulled it off, and how everyone was so well rehearsed, for their roles. But Owen Cooper plays Jamie Miller, and oh my God. I mean, look, when there's a British production, sometimes I'm like, all right, well, I don't watch a lot of BBC. Like, I don't know a lot of the Britain specific actors. Like, for example, the guy that plays Jamie's dad is Stephen Graham, who co-created this, by the way, with the director Jack Thorne. And they both wrote it, I should say. Was it directed? No, it was directed by Philip Barlanti, and he is the reason for the one shots, because he had a movie a few years ago that was a movie all in one shot. Dude, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I guess people go on stage every night on Broadway or whatever, the touring companies, and do a 2.5, 3 hour show that is a one take. Sure, okay. So I guess it's in that vein. But to actually be able to direct something like that, I mean, that's just crazy. So Philip Barlanti is the reason for that. But so Stephen Graham had a big role on the show, This Is England. Now, he was on Boardwalk Empire. I never saw Boardwalk Empire, but and he was actually in a movie I just saw the other day, Venom: The Last Dance, which was horrible. But I didn't really know him. He is a fixture in the Pirates of the Caribbean series as well, so I guess I sort of knew him from that. But obviously, he's a little more made up than he is in this. But sometimes I don't know these British actors, so I thought, oh, maybe this kid is in some big British TV show that I'm unaware of. No, this is his first acting gig. And oh my God, he better get an Emmy nomination. I know they don't like to nominate young actors, but he better get, a lead or supporting Emmy nomination for this role. But he will be appearing in Wuthering Heights next year. He was already tapped to do that, I guess, after people saw his performance in this, in the industry. But in any event, so where was I even going to go? So the acting here is phenomenal. Not just from him, but yes, from the family. The father, there is a portion in the first episode where they are strip searching Jamie to make sure he doesn't have, any sharp objects or whatever on him or in him. And, the camera goes over to Stephen Graham's face as his father. And it's haunting. The amount of acting that went into just some facial expressions there. And because we as the audience, nobody's thinking, anybody that has kids, or, I have 5 nephews, just imagining that scenario for them. His acting is just through the roof here. But everybody does a great job. Let's talk about Erin Doherty as the psychiatrist. We only see her in episode 3. Episode 3 is mostly just the two of them. There's a couple other actors in it. The guy that lets her in the room, for example. But for the most part, this is just a two-hander for about 50 minutes of her and the boy. And my God, I mean, she is intense. In her questioning, but more in how she has to react to what he's doing. And so the themes here, I know this is already a little bit long, so let's get to the themes quickly. They talk about the reasons that maybe this happened, and he was being bullied by this girl, and there's we don't really find out about that till the second episode, but there's some cyberbullying. So then all of a sudden this becomes a little bit of a thematic thing with incels, and Andrew Tate is talked about, and these are people who go on the attack on women and all of this sort of stuff, and how that is shaping our young minds of today, our young teenage boys, of today. And I thought that was a really interesting angle to take with it as well. And when I first heard about this, because this shot to #1 on Netflix like immediately, and I knew it was about this kid who's being accused of killing this young girl, and I just thought, oh, Apple TV Plus already kind of did that with Defending Jacob. You had Chris Evans as the dad. Jacob Tremblay, I think, was the it was the other one, the kid from St. Vincent. I forget his name, but anyway, was the boy, Jacob something. Anyway, but I was like, all right, and that was good. I liked that. I did that for review, I think, and gave it like a B+ or something like that, maybe an A-. So I'm like, oh, do we really need another one like this? But this blows that out of the water. I guess I'll just leave it there. I feel like this video is long enough. But look, I am comfortable in saying that this is the best thing that Netflix has put out since The Queen's Gambit. That was my last A+. I don't give a lot of A+, because with episodic TV, it's sort of ebbs and flows, and usually there's, maybe not a clunker in the mix, but usually there's something that's like a little bit lesser than. So Queen's Gambit, I gave an A+ to, but not many shows get A+ from me. And this is an A+. I mean, this is one of the greatest things, certainly that Netflix has ever put out, but this is one of the greatest TV shows that's been on in years. It is so well done in every aspect. And then the one shot is just the cherry on top. I mean, it's amazing that they were able to do these as one take, one shot things. And I've been watching a lot of West Wing, so like I'm used to like the walk and talk approach of things, but it was so well done. It didn't even occur to me in that first episode that it was all one continuous shot. So bravo, Netflix. I hope to see this a lot at the Golden Globes and the Emmys in the television categories. This just blew me away. So if you can handle it, give Adolescence a try. All right. Thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I will see you next time.